I thought let's actually have a little bit of a seasonal chat about where homeschooling moms might find themselves. I know that winter does bring on different considerations and different flows and rhythms in our lives and our homeschools. And one of the things that you and I commented on this week, that during winter, all this mid-year, there tends to be a bit of a slump in the momentum of homeschooling. And I don't know whether it's got to do with the shorter days and not wanting to get out of bed so early in the morning. But parents can actually get to a place where they're saying, well, are we doing what is right for our family right now? Have a bit of a self-check and assessment. So I thought, let's cash in on that idea and have a how to avoid the winter blues in homeschooling chat, as well as some things that they can include in their homeschooling days, lovely winter things that you don't necessarily do when you're out and about at the beach or in the sunshine or whatever. And then the last thing is, to just give some pointers on those self-assessments. So with those three things in mind, would you like to jump in with your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I think, as homeschoolers, we are allowed to set our own pace. And so if you do have a season where you start your mornings later because it's cold and you don't want to get out of bed, that's one of the privileges of homeschooling. My kids love to just laze around with their blankets wrapped around them while I'm reading aloud in wintertime.
Mm.
And that's normal. It's okay to be like that. And but although it's cold, I think it's also important to get outside,
Yeah.
and especially anybody who's prone to feeling a bit down or have depression, you need that vitamin D on your skin
Yeah.
to make you feel a little bit better. And so don't neglect the things like nature study. And then, of course, it's pouring with rain, but not everywhere in the country has a wet winter like the Cape.
Mm-hmm.
So there are times when you can go out and then, do things like have a little marshmallow braai or something, just to sort of bring everybody together and enjoy treats that you wouldn't maybe, and activities that you wouldn't maybe do in summer.
Yeah.
Just make the most of this season. It's going to pass, spring's going to come, and it's okay if you take a winter pace for your family, whatever that means. For some people, it's we're indoors more, so you can get more academic stuff done because not everybody doesn't always want to be outside or going to do lots of things. So it might look different in different families. But the point is, it's okay. It doesn't have to be the same all year round. You can have seasons of slow and seasons of fast progress.
I was just thinking of a homeschool mom. She had 8 children, and I used to follow her on Instagram. And one of the things that she used to do every winter was choco clock. And that was at about 7:30, they would all make their mugs of hot chocolate and then sit down and read. And I was thinking about some of the other lovely winter traditions. I know parents do tend to want to keep their kids inside when it is raining, but I was one of those nutty parents that would go out and stomp in gutters with the kids and let them sail leaf boats. And you know what, we get dry, and the memories last forever that you make in those really weird mom moments. And then the other thing that was one of our favorite activities in winter, we did do it all year round, but it tended to be a bit of focus on it, was our poetry and tea afternoons. There is, for us, one of the most beautiful memories is lighting the fire, setting the table, making it pretty. One of our daughters used to love sweet treats. I mean, some of the stuff that she churned out of our kitchen actually was so simple, the amount of sugar inside it. And then we would sit and we would read poetry and we'd listen to music together. And that was just a sweet memory that we had that was more prominent in winter. So those are good things. And then in terms of the assessments, where a parent or a mom would find herself in the middle of the year, just doing a little self-assessment, thinking, how are we doing so far? What tips would you have for that?
Well, I always say to new parents, because many of them are using very structured curricula because they want that security. But if it's making you stressed out, and if you're having to nag kids and they're bored and there's tears and drama, then write it off and start with something else. Just consider the cost as school fees. It's quite common and you're on a learning curve. But if you've already broken free from that, then the self-assessment is just to look and see, are we enjoying learning? Are we making progress? And it doesn't mean that every day, every activity has to be fun, because as we always say, there are those discipline subjects. There are things that sometimes children have to persevere through, and you can judge how much to push and when to back off. And, we can't tell you that, but bear in mind that you do need to do that. But it's just a good time to evaluate and say, are we making progress? And are we having fun and making good memories along the way? And if you can't say yes to those two things, then you need to seriously change the tactic and, do something different. You can't keep doing the same thing and expect a different result.
Yeah, and the other thing I was just thinking about is that somehow when I do understand the stress of it, is that we've done a major cash layout at the beginning of the year and you've bought your program and it's just not working. And you kind of think, well, I don't want to waste this. I don't want to waste this money. But really, it's one of those things. You've got to count the lesser of two evils. And having an unhappy home and an unhappy mom and unhappy children, to me, there is no price tag on that. And it doesn't necessarily mean that it's completely wasted. There might be elements of your program that you're going to want to keep and others that you're going to want to put in a box and forget about. And maybe you'll go back to some of the stuff in a year's time, 2 years' time. So don't feel like if the homeschooling is such a heavy weight that you can't shift in the middle of the year. You can. This is homeschooling and you have the freedom to do that. So before we say goodbye, are there any other wintry thoughts that come to mind?
No, I think as always, you're the mom in charge of your family's home education. So adapt it for each season as it suits you.
100%.